everybody. Welcome to episode number 80 of NasCard Radio, this time for real, where trading cards and racing meet. I'm your pal Val. With me is amazing Jason. Jason, how are you?
Hey, Val, I'm doing well.
And the man, the myth, the legend, Hall of Famer, Logan, King NasCar, how are you?
I am feeling royal tonight.
That's awesome. Got a great show for everybody today. We're going to talk about top 10 Richard Petty cards, through the mail autograph requests, and NASCAR news. We're going to talk about some eBay auctions and the Donruss release date was released. But first, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Panini America. And then we also like to thank everybody for spending some time with us this week and previous shows and downloading the shows. If you would please like and share the podcast, help other folks find the podcast. So we'd appreciate it. But first, let's go over to NASCAR news. The release date for Donruss has been released. It's going to be March 2nd of this year, so it looks like it's been pushed a month.
Yeah, we kind of saw that coming with National Treasures being released late. Kind of figured that they would push that out just a little bit, and they did.
I guess with all the supply chain issues and with, like you said, National Treasures getting pushed, it wouldn't have left a lot of time between releases. So
how do we feel about the price on this now that we're looking at $4.50 to $5 a pack for Donruss?
Yeah, I saw the big three had the boxes at 110. I don't know if this is something, a ploy like the Chronicles where they had listed it, and I was like $50-something more than what actually sold for. It came down pretty quick right before release date. So, and I think we talked about it before where everybody's pricing stuff high just in case there's a sell or something like that they can grab that price and then always come down, right? Can't go up after you sold it. So
I think it's tough. Yeah. I think $5 is like the tipping point for your base flagship brands like your Donruss and your Tops. I don't think you can really go much higher than that, and keeping the same formula as Tops and Donruss typically do, with the same amount of hits per year per hobby box, and then retail is usually pretty much the same as well.
Yeah, I mean, Uncle Rich, talks about when the companies pack those out, they pack it out at that suggested retail price, not necessarily what they sell for. So if they're packing it at 70, they're trying to get 110. I guess where I'm going is, you get one auto and two memorabilia. And I missed the good old days of where I'd say, if it was $10 a hit, we were seeing stuff where maybe like the 2016 certified was $40 a box, and you got two autos, two memorabilia. I know those days are gone, but you can see, compared to the Donruss. So Panini was packing it out at 110. I guess I'd be okay with that, but I don't think they're packing it for that.
Yeah, for one autograph and two mem at $110, that's pretty hefty for a NASCAR. I don't know that I would be buying a whole lot of boxes at that price, but I feel confident like you guys. I think it's going to come down for sure.
Last year I think the secret sauce was that 5th anniversary buyback auto, right? So I don't think we have any of that. So I'd be curious to see, what happens at release time, and then, after 30 days after that, right? Unless, I don't know what time is it here, about almost 5 minutes in, that Ty freaking Gibbs is in it, and that saves it. So
yeah, we haven't seen a checklist, so I'm sure Ty freaking Gibbs will be in Donruss.
Yeah, and I think we talked about like that Optima optic set, right? I think they're going to make all 200 cards instead of the normal 100, so we shall see. What else we have for NasCard news?
Well, Tanner Thorson wins the Chili Bowl. That's an indoor midget car race, and second place was Christopher Bell. So congratulations to him. He broke the 2-year winning streak that Kyle Larson had at that race. And I think Kyle Larson finished 6th from what I read. So that was a pretty interesting race. I mean, I'm a race fan. I like all kinds of different forms of racing. I don't follow the other ones as much as I do NASCAR, of course, but it's cool to see things like that.
That was like a week-long event, right? There was a bunch of heat races to get to that.
Yeah, I think they had heat races for the heat races for the heat races. It was a lot of heat races, man. So you really had to work your way up through there to get to that final heat.
Yeah, it wasn't like, everybody, the few folks show up and then the one race and you're done. It was a long, grueling road to get to that and for the win. So, and beat Kyle Larson, that's a big deal.
Yeah, beating Kyle Larson on dirt is a huge deal because you saw what he did before he came back to NASCAR. It seemed like every dirt race he was in, he was winning, and he was just whipping them crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, and he has cards. We talked about it right before the show. He's in a 2019 Next in Line, and then also in 2019 Victory Lane, the Pedal to the Metal. I tweeted that out. So congratulations to him for winning the Chili Bowl.
Yeah, he's also got the 2019 Panini Prism scripted signatures as well. So he does have autos out there. I don't know what his aspirations are to come to NASCAR or anything, but who knows? Maybe worth picking up right now.
Yeah, you never know, right? We use Josh Berry as a barometer and working their way up to try to get a shot. So,
and we've had a lot of midget car and those kind of open wheel drivers come into NASCAR and do very well. Kyle Larson's a perfect example of that. Did you guys hear the rumors of Lewis Hamilton possibly retiring?
I did not hear that.
Yeah, I heard a few rumors. In fact, I was sitting downstairs with my wife the other night, and she was reading an article that he might retire and went, huh? No, there's no way he's going to retire. But that's just pure rumors. He is not going to retire. He's got a contract with Mercedes through 2023. And I heard that there's a spokesman from Topps that actually was talking about this. And you know what he said?
No.
He went, he was thankful that Lewis Hamilton is not retiring.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, that product wouldn't be anything without him.
Where are all those fans?
Oh my
Where are they
God.
going to go? I guess maybe they become Lando, right? So that was the other thing too. Right before the show, I was talking about. I saw. I guess Lando is going to be second on that Mercedes team. So,
yeah. One more thing that I saw in NASCAR news is, and I'm not really familiar with this team, but it's called Money Team Racing, and they're affiliated with Floyd Mayweather. So I guess they've got some, he's made a lot of money in boxing. So I'm sure that's probably part of the reason they're calling it the Money Team. but they're looking to, at least enter the Daytona 500, if not have a full-time team with Kaz Gralla as their driver. I was kind of, shaming Kaz Gralla last week with him being in National Treasures. But I like him. I think he did well. I think last year in the Daytona 500, he finished like 28th or something. So he's a good driver. He just needs a good car.
He's on the Money Team.
Yep, he's on the Money Team. You can make a song.
Well, I did remember reading, I guess it was a few months ago, that NASCAR said they were getting all kinds of requests now about information about charters. So I think with Michael Jordan and that 23XI coming in, and then with Pitbull coming in, I think a lot of folks are now, and the changes that NASCAR has made, I think a lot of companies now are giving them a second look or wanting to get into the sport, because we got like the next gen car coming in. So that's supposed to bring costs down. We got the one lug nut. So, all these things to streamline and we bring down costs and hopefully, I guess, level the playing field maybe for competition, or not having to have those deep, massive teams for engineers and everything else. So it kind of made me think of F1 there for a minute, but with all the bunches of people that support that team. So
yeah, you're right. It does lower the playing field. The cars are going to be more even. They're, like I said, they're going to be more cost effective to run the team. They have composite bodies, so that's going to help. Hopefully, will minimize sheet metal or car damage, and hopefully, again, cut down the cost.
Well, when you were saying that, you were saying the sheet metal damage. I'm thinking when I talked to the one, I think it was at Richard Childress when it was the Xfinity. They were doing this at the Xfinity level. Is the door frames and some of the other stuff, they have that pattern in it that I don't know if it's a hexagon or whatever it is, but the officials can look at it quickly and tell if it's been modified or not. So, it's going to reduce some of the cheating going on, or I don't know, call it cheating. Let's say fudging the rules maybe, or playing outside the gray area or whatever, like Ray Abraham used to call it. So, they get that whole piece and they can put it in, and then that's, less engineering or less things that they can tamper with or change. So,
yeah, trust me, Chad Canals will find a way to skirt the rules. That boy's a genius. He'll find some discrepancy in the rule book and he'll exploit it. Trust me.
That's the one person that if he wrote a book, I would be first in line to get to read the stuff, to find out about some of that stuff. And if you have not seen this, I can't remember the name of the special, but it was Ray Evernham and Jeff Gordon. They had recorded either 96 or 97 season or Daytona, and Ray just kind of breaks down the stuff and some of the stuff that they were doing, and with, I don't say cheating, but changing things around. So I'm always interested to hear some of those stories. And, I know Logan knows this one, but Ray Fox had a book and he talks about some of the stuff that they did back in the day. And I guess he was so good at it that once he retired, they brought him in as a NasCar inspector. So to try to get some of the other folks. But I digress. So sorry about that. But yeah, it'd be interesting when I check it out. I'm sure they're up late thinking of stuff. So
yeah, that's all I've got for news. You guys got anything else?
I don't think so. Do you want to talk about the Richard Petty cards or through the mail?
Let's talk about Richard Petty.
Let's talk about Richard Petty, the king.
And his cards.
And his trading cards, yes. So I don't know if we want to break down why they call him the king, or some of his records, or how he came about.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about that. Of course, everybody knows that, he's got the all-time win record. He's got 200 wins with, second place being 105 wins with David Pearson. So, there's no way, I don't think anybody, in the modern era can ever eclipse that record. I thought Jeff Gordon would have well over 100 wins when he first started, but he never made it. And look at the career he had. So that's a record I don't think you'll ever see beaten, because, back when Richard Petty was racing, they would run 2-3 times a week because, they were trying to feed their family. So, for them, it was all about winning and winning the most money you could win to feed the family. So they ran races, everywhere they could, especially all the NASCAR sanctioned races. So, and all that changed, in 1971 with the modern era, and they trimmed the, 50, 60 something races down to, 30 something races. So that's just, it's just not going to happen now.
Yeah. So to put it in perspective, so he has 200 and David Pearson has 105. So that's 1 and 2 position. But our highest current active driver is Kyle Busch at 59 wins and Kevin Harvick at 58 Cup wins. So you can see how far they are. And of course, they're both behind Dale Earnhardt at 8th position at 76. So they got a ways to go to get to, 8th position here. So, and they've been running Kyle Busch, I think his rookie cards are 2004 and Kevin Harvick are in 1999. So that kind of tells these guys have been around for a while and they're at position 9 and 10. So,
yeah.
So let me ask a question real quick. Let's say that Richard Petty's not here, like he's not in the picture, his stuff never happened. Do you think, because for me, as still somewhat of that outsider, David Pearson is not a name that anybody ever brings up. Do you think if there was no Petty that Pearson would be the guy.
I think so.
Most definitely.
Yeah,
Because
the problem is
One of the
it's
names
kind
that
of.
you hear.
What's that?
It's just, for me, it's not one of the names that I hear very often. It's usually Petty, Dale, Jeff Gordon, and then a couple games, and then maybe Pearson. He's just not in that conversation typically for me.
So I think he was a 70s, late 70s driver was kind of his peak for David Pearson. And I think he has that issue of like the basketball players that played in the Michael Jordan era, right? Patrick Ewing never got a championship because, well, Jordan's around. So I was gonna say Mark Martin, even though Mark Martin's in the Hall of Fame, but Mark Martin, if it wasn't for Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin came in second quite a bit behind Jeff Gordon. So I think that is unfortunately the issue with David Pearson. He was known as the Silver Fox, and I don't think he ran every race like Richard Petty did. Some of the guys like Fred Lorenzen, they would just run the big tracks. That's where all the money was. They weren't going for the championships, right? So there's two schools of thought back in those early days. You race for the money as opposed to running for the short tracks, more damage to your car or more higher risk of damage to your car and less money. And you're not going for the championship. So, like race 5 or 6 times a year and win the big money as opposed to running 30 or 40 races and have a risk of damaging your car and everything else. So they also drove that car to the track too sometimes. So
yeah, and that brings up an interesting statistic. Talking about that, Jason, Richard Petty also holds a record, and that record is he has come in second the most out of any driver. So, and I think David Pearson is next in line there. So both of those two, back during the heyday of the 60s and 70s, those guys were like 1-2, 1-2 all the time.
Yeah, if only one of those guys showed up, you had a pretty good shot of maybe trying to win, beating one guy, but both of them showed up, you were in trouble.
Right. Okay.
Yep. And in 1967, the King had an incredible year that year. He won 27 races. And within that span of 27 races, he won 10 in a row. But again, that was when they were running, 2 and 3 times a week. So that was, even though that's an amazing stat to win 10 in a row, you just have to think, and I'm not trying to downplay the King because the King is my man. But, you can see where it might be just a little bit easier, especially when you've got the equipment that they had back then to actually win 10 races in a row.
So I'm pulling up Racing Reference. And so Richard Petty ran for 35 years, 1,184 races. He was in the top 10, 712 times.
That's amazing when you think about it.
He's in the top 5, 555 times. So almost half, a little less than half of the time. So he ran, and I guess with that almost 1,200 races, that's a lot of races.
Yep. And of course, he's got 7 championships along with Dale Earnhardt and Jimmy. And there's always this debate on who is the GOAT. Some people say, oh, it's Dale Earnhardt Sr. Other people say it's Jimmy. And other people like me say it's Richard Petty. I think it's all in the era that you grew up in. I've seen them all race, and I've seen them all win. And, my choice obviously is going to be for the GOAT is going to be Richard Petty. I mean, he's the best driver. He's got most of the records. He's also, as a person, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And he takes care of his fans. And that goes a long way in the NASCAR community.
So while you were saying that, so he's come in the number 1 position or won 7 championships.
Yep.
He's come in second 6 times in the championship.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, 13 years of those 35, he's 1 or 2.
Sounds a lot like another driver that we talk about a lot lately in F1.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why he's the king. He holds all the records. He's a fan favorite, and and I love him. So to me, he will always be the king. He will always be the GOAT. And I'm glad we're going to talk about some of his cards.
Do you want to start from the top or the bottom up?
We can start from the bottom up. I think your list, you had, I don't think you filled out the top 10, but I do have 10 in my list. And my list is pretty much the same as yours. I just added the other cards that I like and I think are good cards. Do you want me to start out with those and then we'll
Sure.
Get your list? All right, cool. All right. For number 10, for me, I've got the 1998 SP Mark of a Legend Richard Petty card. It's an autographed card. It's out of 220. And, that was during the time when Upper Deck was really putting out a lot of nice cards and a lot of nice autos. And, of course, they were hard to get back then, but they were still really, really nice when you got them. So that's my number 10. Now, my number 9, or I'll say our number 9, is the 1997 action-packed 5th anniversary autographs of Richard Petty. He's card number 1. That's when Action Packed had their 5th anniversary, and they had him, and I think there were 4 other drivers in that set. So that's a really nice little set, and you can find those on eBay, very inexpensively. They're not very expensive, and they're always out there. So that's a good one to pick up. The other one, number 8, and I like these cards, and I've always liked these cards. The 1977 through 79 Sportscaster Richard Petty card. Those things are really, really big, but of course, you had to have a subscription back then to get those Sportscaster cards. But those things are very plentiful, and they're very obtainable, and they're beautiful if you get him to autograph them. So to me, that's a really, really cool card.
Yeah, I would agree with that one. Getting those autographed. So
that was number 8. Do you want to start with number 7, Val?
Go ahead.
Okay. Number 7 is going to be the 1982 Kidco Tough Wheels laser print card. And those were the cards that were available in the die-cast cars back in the day that Tough Wheels was making. And you got 2 cards to a pack or to a die-cast car. And the good thing about those things is the way they packed them to preserve the cards. They actually had a little piece of plastic in between the car and the cards. So even to this day, the cards still are in great shape. So if you can buy some of those Kidco die-cast cars, you're going to get some decent shape cards, excuse me. So those are really nice.
Now, one thing I didn't realize for those 1982 Kidcos, when I was looking up the list, is Richard Petty's also on the Dale Earnhardt card.
Yes, he is.
And it's Dale Earnhardt and it's Richard Petty drafting the win. So I guess that's an honorable mention for the 82 Kidco.
Yeah, that's a cool little set. We've talked about it before. It's got all kinds of different cars from all kinds of different racing series, from Formula One to motorcycles to semi-tractor trailer trucks to, you name it. They've got all kinds of different cards in that 24 card set. So it's a cool little set to get.
Yeah. So that, and not that everybody should jump off and go to this episode, but on episode number 50 is when we talk about the 82 Kidcos. So you can write that down and always come back to that in our archives, episode number 50.
All right. Why don't you take number 5, Val?
Sure. Number 5 or number 6 is 1989 Max card number 43, Richard Petty. Now this is a Petty card that you really don't see much. He's got a cigar in his mouth. It's that typical Richard Petty look, but he's got a cigar in his mouth, and it's the 89 Max. So it's got that orange border and the green back. So the 89 Max is one of the scarcer series and Logan can tell you, trying to find wax back then and factory sets and the toolbox sets have kind of dried up, but it's a nice looking card. And of course, can't go wrong with a king.
Yeah, and that's his second mainstream card, because he's had a lot of, cards in smaller sets as we're getting ready to get to. But yeah, that's a cool card to get.
Yep. I guess number 5, the 1988 Max, number 43, Richard Petty. Now, this is only available in the Charlotte printing or the second printing. And again, that's that closer up image of the king. And that's that image everybody has come to know him, that iconic look. And of course, the 88 Max is one of those iconic, we say, glamour cards when you think of NasCard trading cards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of my favorite cars for sure.
Yeah, I think, that one go on the Mount Rushmore of NasCard trading cards.
Yeah, so number 4, we've got the 1986 Sportstar Photographics card. It doesn't have a number with, of course, Richard Petty. And they have variations, and Val is actually the one that turned me on to the variation, so I'm going to let him talk about that.
Yeah, so actually the trading card database has it as a variation with and without the P.O. box on the back, but I believe, and I would love to be corrected on this, but I do not think there is a variation. I think it's just the one printing of this card. This is the 86 Sportstar Photographics, so it's a little bit larger than a normal trading card. It's horizontal, printed by Sportstar Photographics, and I believe these were only available as full sheets, and they've been cut down over the time. But other cards in the 86 Sportstar Photographics can be found with and without the address on the back. So the Richard Petty, his birth date is wrong on this back of this card, and there's no address for Sportstar Photographics. Did I leave anything out on that one?
No, that's it, man. You got that one. That's great.
All right. Next one, 1983 Uno Racing, card number 23. This is that 83 Uno set, small 30 card set. Really don't know how this was distributed or given away. I believe it was to either, it was created for Uno to give away either at Hospitality Tent or something like that. But again, it's the card number 23, and it's like so many of those with like the Dale Earnhardt Sr. and the Darrell Waltrip. It's Richard Petty with, I think, 2 Uno representatives. And then the back is your Uno black and white playing card.
Yeah, and those cards, the backs of them, they have that solid black part on the back of those cards. It's hard to find some that don't have any print dots or anything like that. And so trying to get those things in PSA 10s sometimes can prove to be a little bit difficult.
Well, not a little bit difficult, a lot of difficult. I can tell you now that I think when they use black light and stuff, that those scratches show up. So that'll knock you down from 10 to a 9 or 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I forgot about, those things are prone to having little micro surface scratches on them. So I can see where that would knock them down.
And I can tell you from experience, because I sent quite a few in, and they all came back 9s. And when I kind of questioned some of it, that was my answer. So I'll let you take number 2 and number 1.
Okay.
Or right, we'll let Jason do number 1.
We'll let Jason do number 1.
All right. So number 2, Logan.
Number 2 is from the 1992 Tracks autograph set. It's card number A1. It's the autograph of Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Richard Petty on the same card. If you've been collecting racing cards any amount of time at all, you know this card, you've seen this card, you love this card, and you want this card. It is one of the coolest cards ever. I never was able to pull one. I was able to trade for one back in the day. I still have it. Believe it or not, I have not got it authenticated or graded. I probably need to put that on my list of things to do. But it's a beautiful card, highly desirable. They are, I don't know that they're plentiful, but I will say that you do see them on eBay quite often. But you do have to watch out on some of them, because we have noticed that we think there were some blank cards in the day, and there have been some forgeries on some of these cards. So you got to watch out for those. And if you look at some of them, especially the Richard Petty autograph on the ones that are, we think are forged, it's pretty easy to see that Richard Petty didn't sign that. So just buyer beware, look at what you have, and, just pay attention to the autographs. But like I said, this is a great, great, great card. It's an iconic card, wouldn't you say?
Oh, definitely. And to come out, kind of in the first few years in 92, to have the 2 7 times right there is pretty amazing.
It is. And also, that was also the first year that Jeff Gordon had an autographed card as well. In fact, I pulled one. I'll tell you a funny story real quick. I pulled one out of a box. I got a Jeff Gordon autograph. And of course, he hadn't done anything yet. And I looked at that thing and I went, crap, I got Jeff Gordon. I mean, I really wanted Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt Sr. So,
yeah, I could definitely imagine that. It's like pulling a Jimmy Johnson back in 2000. Like, what?
Yeah, or Tom Brady.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Jason, number 1.
I don't think it's any secret that the number 1 Richard Petty card is the 1972 STP no number rookie card for Mr. Richard Petty himself. Looking this up, and I put a link in the chat for you guys to see. It's impressive. I mean, what we talk about for racing cards and, a raw card for this one's usually about 1,500 in decent condition for raw, and, a few thousand graded. And it's gone up considerably, the past few years. And I'm sure, that's because of us talking about it so much. So we'll take the credit for that. But I mean, this card just never seems to go away, but in a good way. I mean, this is the one that's always up there for everybody.
Yeah, it's definitely the iconic. I think it has all the right pieces. It's very rare. I don't think we talk about it enough. It's kind of somewhat of a mystery how it was distributed. We know, Andy Granatelli had something to do with it with STP, and then also with Ray Mann, who was producing the Racing Pictorial magazine. So that's where the image came from. But we don't know exactly, heard different stories. I've contacted people and said that, they got it at the Daytona Speed Week in 72. So it's kind of interesting. And then also Dane Turner, who purchased the Ray Mann collection of photographs, as well as gotten the cards and stuff, and started the Racing Collectibles magazine. He actually never listed the 1972 STP set in the price guide, which I find amazing. And I remember, him saying in the editorial or something like that, is that it was so rare that he didn't want to put it in the checklist. So it's quite rare. And when we look at the numbers of graded examples, there's, I think, less than 100, I think, across all 3 of the big grading card companies. And there is no 10, PSA 10, there's a PSA 9. And then it drops sharply for there.
Yeah, I think there's like 3 7s after that or something like that. But yeah, this is probably the glamour card for NASCAR. At least I think so.
Yeah, so I guess this is the 52 mantle of NASCAR.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I like that. I would agree with that, because it's a beautiful card. I mean, there's no borders. It's a full bleed card. It's got a picture of him without a mustache and without a hat. So it's a nice picture. Very simple design, and it's just like anything else that's now collectible. Back when they issued those things, they really weren't meant to be collectible. They were just giveaways to promote STP.
I could also see, and you mentioned it, no glasses, no hat. If you are an inexperienced NASCAR collector, I could easily see where you would miss this and not even realize that it's Petty, especially at a show. I could see somebody just walking by and not even realizing what they were, looking at, or even somebody that found it in an attic or a closet or whatever, not even realizing what it is, because it's not that iconic look for Petty that we've kind of come to know and love in most recent years.
No, it's not. Without the sunglasses, without the mustache,
Right.
without the cowboy hat, he looks completely different.
Yeah, he's missing his 3 signatures items.
So
He is.
So on the list, and tell me if I missed it, but you guys mentioned an autograph or two, but what is his first memorabilia card? Like I was looking as we're talking, looking as you guys were going through, and I'm listening. I don't see what it is, and I'm getting into the press pass years, and I still can't find anything. Do you know? Because to me, his career spans so much that these first, and Val, you kind of mentioned it on the list that you sent over, like that first Prism. To me, that's a bigger deal, than it may be to you guys. But I also think his first memorabilia card would also be a big deal too. But I just can't figure out what it is.
Yeah, I think, some of these are honorable mentions, and it all depends on how you collect, right? Because there's no right or wrong way. But the 2016 Prism Silver or colored parallels, I think, are great. And then to your point, finding memorabilia fire suits, just like for Dale Earnhardt Sr., are tough, right? Those aren't readily available, and the companies have either gone through the supply that they had, and they probably didn't have a great big supply of that kind of stuff because Richard Petty had retired well before that. And so, trying to find some big patches of a fire suit or used tires or whatever. So I was wondering if maybe it's the burning rubber from 96, if he's in that or not.
He's not in that. Shame on me. I should know that, but I do not know that.
So
Well,
I'm guessing it would have been in the Legends set then.
I'm in Press Pass 2005, and I started, at 72, and I'm in 2005, and I haven't seen anything yet. Now, granted, on Trading Card Database, not everything has a photo, and I'm kind of skimming, but I see autographs, just no relics.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of relics in the beginning for him. I do know that.
Yeah, I want to say it's like was it 2006 or 2009, the Legends?
The one show where we talked about all the different types of relics and then maybe what we would like to see. I'm kind of upset with us that nobody mentioned Richard Petty's cowboy hat.
Oh,
well, he does have cowboy hat cards.
Oh, really?
From 2006. I know those are in 2006 Press Pass Legends.
Yeah, there's super rare hat tag. There's one out there for $60 on eBay. 2006 Press Pass Legends.
Yeah, I did know that.
Oh, I see.
Ratio shirt and Legends. I think it was Showcase maybe that I got a big, like 2-inch by 2-inch, like fire suit, and it's got a seam running through it.
I could also see where the companies in the early 2000s were just going through stuff like crazy, cutting things up. But now I think people are getting a little bit more particular about what gets cut up, and they don't want that old stuff. Although it's cool to have it in a card, they don't necessarily want it to be cut up anymore.
Yeah, I've always thought it was kind of sacrilege to cut up anything like that, especially when you see some of these baseball cards with cut up Mickey Mantle jerseys and cut up Shoeless Joe Jackson bats and crazy things like that.
Yeah, I think it was cool at first, and then everybody started thinking, well, now this can't be in a museum or, something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's only so much of that stuff out there.
Right.
How much was actually saved and how much was actually consumed through the, making of cards. So, but that's what I was going to say with Richard Petty. I think, his stuff is on that list of rare. Richard Petty, David Pearson, Earnhardt Sr. That you just don't see that stuff anymore.
And I'm going to add one more card as like a miscellaneous.
Sure.
Something I think would be neat. And I think Logan should go on this pretty fast. The 1992 Sports Illustrated for Kids. He only has one Sports Illustrated for Kids card. And while getting it raw would be, $4, $5, $6, $8, whatever. I think trying to find a good graded one, a good condition graded one would be difficult because we're talking 30 years ago, they're perforated, and he only has the one. And right now, even on eBay, there are only 3 listed. So it's not like they're readily available. And I think that would be something, kind of that neat little thing to add to a collection.
Yeah, actually, when I was looking at pulling this list or looking on eBay, I did see some of those. So it's kind of like a picture looking down at him. It's above him. So
Yep.
yeah, all good.
Well, guys, since we've been talking about this, I have gone through on Beckett and gone through Richard Petty every year since 1996, and it looks like 2006 is the first year for memorabilia.
Okay, I'll have to write that down.
Yep. Yeah, because I couldn't think of anything prior to that at all when they had that hat card. Because I remember it was a pretty big deal.
Oh, I know another one I was going to throw out. We mentioned, or I had talked to Logan about it. Is their dual sign, I believe, or is it just no? Maybe it's just signed. They're all happy birthday to the king, and they're signed by the other drivers. And there's a little message of happy birthday. I don't know if they were at a showcase or out of something, but those are during the press pass days.
Yeah, I've got one of those. It's Tony Stewart. It says happy birthday, King, or something like that. Tony Stewart. Yeah, those are pretty cool cards. Some of the cards that didn't make the list, and probably would never make the list, or kind of the ones that I kind of like the 1992 Pro Set card number 43 of Richard Petty with the American flag. That's when you look at that image of that card, I mean, it's like baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Richard Petty. I mean, it's like it's just a beautiful card.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, when you think of NASCAR and you think of Richard Petty and you think, American flag, and yeah, that's a nice one. That's a nice one to get signed. It's a great image.
Yeah, it's a horizontal one, so it is nice to get signed for sure. Some of the other cards that I like that I have seen, and of course this one kind of goes back to what Jason was talking about. We've actually talked about this thing a couple times. The 1992 Food Lion set, card number 66. Richard Petty is on a bike. I like that card because I ride bikes, so to me it's pretty neat. Actually, I had one graded just because of that. But that like I said, they'll never make that's probably not even in the top 200 Richard Petty cards. But for me, I like it.
Well, it's funny you mention that because I was doing a search and I saw somebody was selling pallets of the Food Line. I thought of Jason.
There you go, Jason. Get you a pallet of Food Line cards.
I'm going to look right now, actually.
I think it's like $4,000 or $5,000, and I don't know if it's 12 pallets but it's a lot of Food Line cards.
Yeah, and I like die-cast cars. I have a lot of die-cast cars here, and I remember in 1991 when Racing Champions issued the Richard Petty car, and it had the cool thing that I liked about Racing Champions is they had a trading card with the car. Of course, I never opened any of mine, but there is a card in there of Richard Petty leaning by the car, which is pretty cool. It's a white bordered card, and I like that card. It's just something about it. I like it. I guess maybe because I remember going to Targets and Walmarts chasing those cars back then. Just kind of brings back some good memories.
So I found that auction. It's actually not a bad price. It is 6,700 boxes of, so not packs, boxes, 6,700 boxes of that Food Line Richard Petty stuff for $5,900. So not even $1 a box, which is an amazing price. But if you look at the pictures, there are like there's one code 02455. I don't know which one that is, but it's a pallet full of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 12 high times 4 wide times 4 deep. You're going to get a lot of the same thing, but it's a cool auction for sure.
Gosh, I wouldn't know what I would do with that. Oh my God.
I don't know. Well, maybe this transitions into the next segment, through the mail autographs.
I was going to talk. Okay, can we talk about some more Richard Petty cards real quick.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. 1998 Upper Deck Road to the Cup 50th anniversary autographs of Richard Petty. That's a really nice card. That's a card you don't see very often. So if you see it and the price is right, that may be something to pick up. Those are nice cards. And another card that I liked was back in 2003 when Topps had their E-Tops. Their super high premium cards that were, like a stock market issue kind of thing. I like those cards, and it's a very beautiful card. Plus, he's had some other crazy cards. I know there's the 1991 Pro Set number 10, and he's sitting there smoking a cigar on that one too. That was pretty neat. And there's another one that's it's iconic, but it's also in a way kind of sad. It's from the 1993 Max, card number 156. It's a Richard Petty memorable moment, and it shows him at an empty Daytona Speedway standing up, looking down pit road, because this is after he retired. He retired in 92. So it's a cool card, but in a way it's kind of, sad. It's the end of an era, but to me, it's kind of a cool card. It's kind of iconic. It tells you a lot when you look at that image. And there, there's also another Richard Petty Dale Earnhardt signed autograph, the 1998 SP Authentic Traditions, card number T1.
Because it's got like a foil on the edges. It makes it look pretty snazzy.
Yeah, and you definitely don't see that card very often. I think once it gets into a collection, it stays in the collection for a long time. I know if I found that card, I would not be selling it.
And that's the thing with some of these, right? The 72 STP, the Unos, and some of these other ones. Once they get in the collection, they're not coming out.
No, and I'm a card hoarder anyway. I don't sell anything, as you well know, and as everybody knows. It's rare to get me to sell anything. So, if I get it, it's going to be just like going into, the Raiders of the Lost Ark warehouse. You're not going to see it again.
Right.
But I'm going to say one more thing here. The 2009 Press Pass Pocket Portraits. They're the same size as a T206 card. For those of you who are familiar with T206 baseball cards, it's that same size. There's just something about those cards that I like, and I like the Richard Petty. And of course, they had different variations, I think, from like Walmart. They had some Walmart cards, and then of course they had the standard issue from Press Pass. So those are really cool cards, and of course you can pick those up pretty cheap. So that's all I got.
I was going to say one other thing was that Richard Petty was in Allen and Ginter.
Oh, yeah.
And so he has 2012 some used memorabilia and autographs in Allen and Ginter. So a little different take. You maybe think of it when you said the T206 that they have the minis, Allen and Ginter's signed. So.
Oh, I just thought of another one. Sorry, guys. The 2018 Panini Donruss Slingshot card. That's a cool card. It's more of a cartoony looking card, but they only had, I think, 4 different cards that year of the Slingshot, which, I used to think those were skid marks.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
But that's a cool card. So that's another one to check out. All right. Sorry to derail everything.
Oh, and one more, and we'll say, and I guess we can go all night here, but the iconic downtown. There's a downtown.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. In fact, I've got one of those out to PSA, and I'll mention real quick. My PSA submission hit a 1 year anniversary on the 16th of January. So I've had a submission gone for a year now officially.
I'm right there with you. So, but we're coming up on an hour here. So I will say we'll go into now's the time for through the mail, right? TTM. And now is the time to start thinking about sending some cards to the drivers. And I know, if you have a project working on, I know Jason's working on a project. If you want to talk about that some.
Yeah, so we talked about it a while ago. I bought a lot of Holly Farm sets off of Crut Cards, like $1 a set or something real cheap. I think it was like 10 or 15 sets, and 30 cards per set. And there's some names and there's some people I've never heard of, but like Dale Senior's in there. So my project is, because it's only a 30 card set, I'm going to try to get them all signed. And I started getting some envelopes ready, and I got 5 or 6 ready to send out. Ones that are sure things that come back within, less than a month, 2 to 3 weeks type of deal. And I'm going to get rolling. And I bought one on eBay a couple weeks ago. I bought Vinnie Parsons for $5 or $6 delivered. So not a bad deal for me. And then that was, my first one. And several shows ago, I had bought the Dale Senior off of eBay, signed for $75 or something like that. I actually ended up returning it because it was pretty poor condition, like worse than I would take even for a deceased autograph. So started over, and then Vinnie Parsons is officially my number one out of the 30 so far.
So he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, for $5 or $6, I couldn't pass it up. And I actually, I think I sent it to you guys, or at least to Logan, and to kind of get an idea of the signature, and said it looked good, and so I went ahead and bought it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I gotta look and reevaluate some of my stuff. I know I want to work on a 2016 Prism Silver set, so I need to go through, see who I can send off to. There's different ways to find the addresses. I don't know, Jason, how you're finding your addresses, but one way is to, if you Google the driver and autograph request, if they're a current driver or a legend, there are, they have shops or contacts or whatever that you can send to. And then there's I think there's some Facebook groups that you can join, as well as some other sites that have address information.
Yeah, so some people that send autograph requests are pretty stingy with addresses. And I get it. They want to respect the privacy of people. But we almost kind of live in that day and age where it's out there somewhere. So getting in the Facebook groups, you'll get guys that'll share successes, and they'll say, I sent 2 cards and they signed both, or they signed one and kept one, or, whatever the deal is. And then they'll share the addresses. You can also pay for things. One that I use is sportscollectors.net. It's $14.99 per year. And you can go through all the major sports and search by name, and it'll tell you what address, how long it took, and then, the same kind of the record, like 2 out of 2 or 3 out of 3 or whatever. And everybody that, people that are members will update their successes, and that's kind of how what addresses work, who signs, who doesn't, and kind of where to spend your time and where to not waste it. That's a really big deal. NASCAR is different than the other sports. If you get into the other sports, typically the bigger the name, the less likely the signature will get returned to you. But NASCAR is a whole different beast in itself. And I think you guys probably would know some about this too, but when I used to do it with NASCAR in the early 2000s, I would request, what do they call those?
Hero card?
Yeah, I would request those, but I would make sure to send an envelope big enough to get it back, like a manila envelope, unfolded. I'd get a 10 by 13, and then I'd put a 9 by 12 inside to get it returned to me. Keep them flat, not folded. And then those, I think they're 8.5 by 11, but like you said, those hero cards, those are really nice if you don't have the trading cards to send out. And usually you get a couple of them, depending on the driver. And then sometimes I would get like some extra stuff, like some stickers or, what have you, but little trinkets like that.
Yeah, if you go out to the shops, they all, under frequently asked questions or contact information, they'll have their autograph policy and how to shipped to them, or maybe the drivers that are not accepting. It's gotten to be tough, I guess, for some of the really big drivers. Kyle Busch comes to mind. He won't sign. But part of some of that sweet spot would be new drivers, new rookies. Austin Cindric, comes to mind. Harrison Burton, who's rookie now at Cup for Wood Brothers. But if you just visit those websites and look under, like I said, the more information, or if you can ask questions or contact, they should have their policy. So, and then of course you always want to include a self-addressed stamped envelope.
The biggest thing I can recommend to anybody is don't send something you can't afford to lose.
Correct.
Especially not so much, placing the blame on, the drivers or the athletes, but just the way that the mail is, 99 times out of 100 stuff gets delivered back, but that one time, that's when it's like the most expensive thing. That's just how it works out. So if it's some card that's like $100, don't send it to get signed through the mail. Save that for something in person or whatever. Send stuff that you can afford to lose.
I don't know, we mentioned a few times when we talked about him, Richard Petty. If you'll send to the museum, again, if you Google that information, Richard Petty autograph request, it'll pop up and give you everything you need to know to send to him. So
now we talked in text chatting, and he is two per request. And I think, Val, when you and I started this a couple years ago, I sent for Mario Andretti.
Yes.
And he is 1 per year, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe 2, something like that. But he's not, per request. They put your name into a file and they keep track, and he's like 1 or 2 per year. And then does he sign your stuff, or does he always send you that one specific card back?
When I sent to Mario, he sent me back what I sent him, because it was a Sportstar Photographics sticker, I believe it was.
Okay. Whatever I got from him, I did not send him.
Okay.
I got 2 blue cards, and I want to say they had Kmart.
Yeah, that's a Kmart. Yeah.
Yeah, so I probably sent index cards or something, because I'll send those if I don't have anything else for people. And I got 2 of those Kmart cards back signed.
Yeah, sometimes the drivers they don't like to sign those index cards. And I'm sure he has probably a mountain of those Kmart cards.
Yeah, talking about Richard Petty real quick and the way he signs, he has these 2 ladies that I think they volunteer there, and they're friends of his that run the museum. And what they do is Richard comes by on a specific day, and they whip out these tables, and these ladies go and they put all the stuff that Richard needs to sign on the tables, along with the envelopes to send them back and everything. And Richard just comes in, he just goes and signs everything, and he leaves. And then they pack it all back up and send it all back. So it works out real nice for him.
Yeah, he doesn't, I don't think, have a long window of, being sent out, and back. So I think he keeps on top of his mail.
Yeah, I think he does it weekly. He comes in there, I think, once a week. And I remember the one time that I went, well, I've been there a couple times, but one time I went to the museum and I came in there and I asked them about, Richard Petty signing things. And they go, "Oh, you just missed him. He was just here a few minutes ago." It's like, oh. So, but I have been lucky enough to meet him several times over the years.
He's one of those, to me, that I think people take for granted right now, because he does sign so much, so well. His signature seems like it has never changed. And I think it's that, I'll send it to him. I'll get it. It'll happen. And then one day it's not going to be possible anymore. And I think there's going to be a lot of regret buying from people that have put it off so long. Even though he has a ton out there, we've gone through the stats today and his cards and his values, and I think he's getting, brushed aside a little bit now, but I think his time will come for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's iconic in the sport, and I think to your point, he's starting to be, taken for granted and this other stuff. So And it happens, right? I think right now, like Jimmy Johnson, until you step back and start actually realizing what happened and the wins and everything else in the championships and what it took, and it kind of that time separation and everything else where they get evaluated and everybody rediscovers them, right?
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
Think about it. If Hank Aaron was out there and said, okay, I'll sign 2 of everything that you or 2 items for every request that you send me, and I go to my batting cage factory every week, and I'll sit and sign everything all day. I think people would be jumping hand over fist to get in, but again, it's racing. We talk about it all the time, how it gets overlooked for the big 4, and you can't argue with what's out there for him. I mean, we talked about how many wins he has and then how many the number 2 guy has. And it's just a crazy, crazy gap that if it was anything else, it would just be values would be through the roof.
I totally agree. Again, it's the mentality or I guess the way the collectors are, it's what's hot right now, and until everybody rediscovers them all at one time, then just kind of out of sight, out of mind. So
Yeah, you guys got me wanting to send stuff in to Richard Petty right now.
Well, I always say and I think Jason hit on it, if you get 2 a year or whatever, and I'm going to, like I said, work on that 2016 silver set. So I think he has a few different cards in that set. So I'll have to get some together and have to do my testing for powdering it. But I think that's my task or quest for 22, 23. So,
and not to harp on it, but his signature hasn't changed. And, you see other signatures out there, and I'm not going to mention names because I don't know, health history of people and what's happening in their real life. But some of these guys in other sports, their signatures don't look like they did 5 or 10 years ago when they were signing stuff for Fleer and Tops. And, Petty's does. His looks exactly the same.
It's a work of art.
It truly is. It's one of the most iconic signatures, for an autograph collector to have. I mean, just the beauty of the autograph and the time he takes to actually do it. I don't know if y'all have ever seen him hold a Sharpie, but he kind of holds it with 3 fingers like this. Of course, you people out there can't see this, but it's like he holds it with 3 fingers. You got the 2 fingers and the thumb, and he holds the Sharpie and he signs and I guess that's probably from like maybe, getting signature fatigue or something. He's learned to do that. So his hand doesn't wear out, because you can imagine if he goes to a signing session somewhere and he's signing thousands of autographs, I mean, that's got to take its toll on you. And especially, the older that you get too. So he's developed that. And I think it's pretty cool to watch him hold a Sharpie.
So 2 things real quick. I love signatures and I love seeing like the lineage. So Lee Petty signed like Richard Petty. Kyle Petty signs like Richard Petty. So you have the grandfather, the father, I guess, and then the son, and then the grandson. So Kyle Petty, and then Adam Petty, he signed similar with that looping style as well. So, and then one time, I guess me and Logan were in line waiting, and so we were actually figuring up how many days, weeks Richard Petty has spent his lifetime autographing cards, and I think we came up with like 1 or 2 weeks of his life he's lost to signing autographs. I think we figured it up as like about 100 a day, and then how many days in a year, and over the 35 years or whatever, and
yeah, how long it takes to do one autograph and then multiply that times. Yeah, and we figure he signed like well over 1 million autographs.
Do you think and it's subjective, of course, but do you think he has the best autograph of, let's just say, all the sports, all the big names? We're not going to go into all these, minor leaguers and stuff, but
if there's another one, I'd love to know it.
Ken Griffey Jr.
No.
I think would be the only. Yeah, but the only reason I say that is because for Griffey's, it hasn't changed really either. And I know he has signed a lot, but he hasn't signed near as much as Richard Petty has.
I know we talked about this before, but he did sign R. Petty for a time, I think in the
Okay.
80s, but then he went back to the full Richard Petty with all the looping.
Yeah, if you're talking about autographs, I'll put this one out here. I think Mickey Mantle has a nice autograph. But it's also pretty iconic.
Oh, Ted Williams is pretty nice too.
You were reading my mind, dude. Ted Williams.
Yeah.
Well, and it was that back in that age when you could actually read the person's signature, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And now you have some of these other signatures that it might be a full signature, but it's hard to read, make it out. I was thinking like with Jeff Gordon, his has changed over time from his first autographs to the way he's signing now. Then you have others, the younger kids that are coming up that are went to the class there of initializing their signature as opposed to full signature. So
yeah, look at Ty freaking Gibbs' autograph. Great driver, great kid. Autograph, not so much.
He went to that class, I think so.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with those people. It's not going to get better because they're just going to keep signing. Usually early in your career, it's the best. And then it tapers off and goes downhill. Because even I know for work, one of the jobs that I had that I was there for 6 years, I had to sign a receipt paper like 30 times a day. And eventually it just got to be where it was just loops, just because you had to do it so much. And I can only imagine some of these people, they have no idea what they're getting into.
I don't know, gentlemen, if there's anything else.
Well, I did a lot of eBay research. Let me at least get a couple of eBay auctions in here.
Of course. I'm not rushing anybody. And I'm sure the listeners do not mind at all either.
Yeah, I know we're kind of running a little long, but yeah, I was perusing eBay and, did my normal list of items that sold, things I thought that were good, things that went really, really high. One thing I did see out there, and of course, it's not on eBay yet, but it was on social media. It was a Joey Logano booklet from 2021 National Treasures. And he inscribed it. Apparently, while he was signing autographs, his wife came by and bumped his shoulder. So he signed it. My wife bumped my shoulder. Sorry, Joey Logano 101. And people have been going crazy over that card. They want that card so much, but it's been pulled. Somebody got it out of I think maybe a group break or at a hobby shop or something. But I thought that was really cool. It's kind of like the Dale Jr. with his daughter and all that.
The Carl Edwards where he smeared it.
Mm-hmm. So I thought that was neat. Like I said, it's not on eBay, but it was just something I saw on social media that I thought was really, really neat.
Very cool.
Couple things that I saw, I'm not going to go too long on this, is like there on the 19th, there was a George Russell purple refractor Formula One card tops out of $399. It was a PSA 9. It went for $405 with 11 bids. So maybe there's other people other than Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen that people are going to try to collect. I thought that was interesting. And here's another F1 2020 Topps Chrome Formula One Max Verstappen purple refractor, of course, out of $399, just like the George Russell. And it was also a PSA 9. That went for $962.01.
And what number card was that?
Out of $399.
No. I mean, is that the normal Max Verstappen, or is it one of the other cards?
The purple refractor, yeah.
No, but I'm saying, so there's multiple Max Verstappens in there, winning certain races or whatever. It was like card number 6.
Card number 6.
Oh, okay. So it was the main card.
Yes.
Okay.
And I also saw out there, I thought this was interesting, and this actually ended on the 19th as well. A 1980 Panini F1 Grand Prix sticker set complete, 144 stickers with Alain Prost rookie, went for $299. Buy it now. So that was, I think, a great deal. Whoever got that, I mean, I'm sure when that popped up and somebody saw that, they went, "Oh man, I got to get that," and they bought it like just click that quick. Something else, we were talking about those President's Choice cards a few episodes ago. Of course, all those are 1-on-1s. There was a dual patch Rusty Wallace Eric Almirola card. that went for $92 best offer accepted. And I was able to find the real price, by the way. So we went for $92 best offer accepted. And of course, there was also on the 13th, there was a 1988 Max Dale Earnhardt promo. And it was a PSA 10. It went for $1,699. Buy it now. So I thought that was pretty impressive for that as well.
Wow.
Oh, one more. Now this is a mind boggler for me. This is on the 18th. A Panini Ayrton Senna rookie card from 1984, mint fresh from the pack, and it looked nice. Went for $17,100 with 37 bids. That is amazing for a 1984 card from Panini with Ayrton Senna and his rookie. That says a lot about the state of F1 right now. I mean,
wow.
People are clamoring for this stuff and are paying big bucks for it.
So are they speculating on that?
I would have to say yes.
Wow.
That's big money.
That's a lot of money. That's real money.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that card, I mean, they showed it. It looked beautiful. I mean, it looked gem mint. So, it's probably going to grade very, very high if they get it graded. So a couple of National Treasures things, since National Treasures just broke out last week, I saw that there was a Chase Elliott jumbo nameplate booklet that was really, really cool. It was a 1-of-1. It went for $799.99 with only one bid. So I thought that was pretty neat. And there was also a 2021 National Treasures Darrell Waltrip cut autograph that went for only $55. So that was a good deal right there, I think. $55 for a cut auto out of 5. Not bad. So,
awesome.
So that's, I've got a whole big list of things here, but those are the highlights. And because I don't want this to run too long, but I do want to say one thing. I want to give some special thanks out to Colin Hostetter, aka at CJH 2009-12. He turned us onto a website that can tell you the best offer accepted price for cards on eBay. It's called 130point.com, 130point.com. And the URL to go find these prices for the best offer accepted is 130point.com/cards. And you can put that, the description in there. It doesn't take the item numbers, but if you go and cut and paste the description and put it in there, it will give you the best offer accepted price. Now, one thing I noticed about this, just so y'all know, is I was cutting and pasting things out, and some were working and some were not working. I'm like, what is going on here? So I come to find out that apparently if it's got a slash in there, it doesn't like that. It can't find what you're looking for. So take the slashes out, like 1/1, 1/1. Just take that 1/1 out of there, out of the description, and it'll find it. So I guess it's something, you're a database guy, Val, so you kind of understand about some of those things, but it works great once I figured out why it didn't work. So that's pretty cool. So you might want to check that out.
As the way they're handling those special characters or
exactly
collation of the database. So
yeah, the way they're handling it. And something else too, one quick thing. The other day I was tweeting about Sam Mayer, and I had won a lot in a break of his cards, and it was a pretty decent price. And I actually got an autograph. Well, I saw later that Sam Mayer liked the tweet, so I thought that was cool too.
That's always awesome. That's like with the guy who won the Chili Bowl. I had put that out there. He liked that tweet, so it's always nice to know that they're seeing that stuff. So
yeah, they are watching. They may not respond, but they are watching.
Yeah. For F1 collectors, they might already know this, but the Topps UK site still has 2021 stickers, boxes of stickers for £40. I think that's a 50-pack box. I ordered 2, so we'll see how they run. And then also the F1 Turbo Attacks, the Mega Tin and the regular starter pack, some other stuff like that are still out there on the website. So you can still get some F1 at cost stickers or the turbo tax.
Did you have to pay extra shipping, or how does all that work?
Yeah, the shipping, I think, and tax. I want to say for the 240-pound boxes, to look at the conversion, but I think it was total, maybe it was 122 for 2 boxes with shipping, US. I think that's what the conversion was. So
That's not bad.
again, they're 50 packs. 50 packs to a box, and I think 10 stickers to a pack. So you're looking at 500 stickers for 1,000 stickers, and for $122.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd get a box and open some packs and check it out.
Yeah, I see some Lewis Hamiltons in your future.
Well, I hope so. We'll see. Or Max Verstappen. So I definitely can't do the chrome stuff. So not at $2,000 a box, or even the pre-sale for the other stuff. So anyway, but anything else, guys? We'll wrap it up. Well, again, thanks everybody for listening. If you would please share the podcast, and help us introduce new folks to the show. We appreciate it very much. And again, thanks for listening, staying with us to the end. And thanks to our sponsor, Panini America. And for me and the guys, we will talk to you next week.